أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا. بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين. قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما. قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وضل لها كل شيء، وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء، وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء، وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء، وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء، وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء، وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء، وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء، وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس، يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النكام، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغيئ النعم، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تعطأ الرجاء، اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء، اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبت وكل خطيئة أخطأتها، اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك، وأسألك بجودك أن تدلعني من كربك، وأن توزعني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متضلل خاشع، أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني باسمك راضيا قانعا، وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته، وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم أزم سلطانك وعلى مكانك، وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك، وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك، ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا، ولا لكبائه ساترا، ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرعت بجهلي، وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من كبيح سترته، وكم من فاضح من البلايا كبته، وكم من إثار وكيته، وكم من مكروه دفعته، وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم أذم بلائي وأفرت بي سوء حالي، وكسرت بي أعمالي، وكادت بي أغلالي، وحبسني النفع بعد عملي، وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها، ونفسي بخيانتها ومثالها. سيدي فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء أملي وفعالي، ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تواجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملت في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك، أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي، أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي، ولم أحترز فيه من تذين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك، وخالفت بعد أوامرك، فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاءك، وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك، وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مكرا مدعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني، ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري، وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي وضكة عدمي، يا من بيدي، يا من بدا خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي. هبني لابتضاء كرمك وسالف برك بي، يا إلهي وسيدي ومربي. أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، وهتكذا ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت، أو تبعد من أدنيت، أو تشرد من آويت، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة، وبشكرك مادها، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بعنايتك محققا، وعلى ضمائر راحت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارها ساعتنا أوطان تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذئنا. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا ربي، وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاري على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه كليل مكسور يسير بقاء قصير مدته، فكيف احتمال لبلاء الآخرة وجليل الوقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض يا سيدي، فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحكير المسكين المستكين، يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها أضج وأبكي، لعليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته، فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بنائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النذر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك، فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناتك لأذجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآمنين، ونصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ونبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولا أنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين، أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاك تعمد بها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج المعامل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ كيف تظلم النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ كيف يكرق لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ كيف يتقلقل بين أتباكها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ كيف تزجر زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا ربها؟ كيف يرجو فضلك في يقطه منها وتترك فيها؟ هيهات، مع ذلك الذنوب بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبع لما عملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين يقطع لولا ما حاكمت به من تعذيب جاحدك وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كانت إلا لأحد فيها مكرا ولا مقاما، لكن تكدست أسماءك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمت وغلبت من عليه أجريت أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمت وكل ذنب أذنبت وكل كبيح أسررت وكل جهل عملت كتمته وأعلنت أخفيته وظهرت وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارح وكنت أنت الركيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك غفيت وبفضلك سترت وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصعته، يا عليما بضري ومسكنته، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا رب يا رب يا رب. أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقات من الليل والنهار بذكرك مأمورة، وبخدمتك موصولة، وأعمال عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه مؤولي، يا من إليه شغوت أحوالي، يا رب يا رب يا رب. كو على خدمتك جوارح، واشدد على العظيمة جوانح، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك، والدوام في الاغتسال بخدمتك، حتى أسرع إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في البارزين، واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك ذنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأعرض، ومن كادني فكيد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نسيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، وعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأكلني يسرته، واغفر ظلته، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وذمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا رب نسبت وجهي، وإليك يا رب مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني منايا، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا اغفر لي من لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يوما اسمه دعاء، وذكره شفاء، وتعته غنى. ارحم من رأس مال الرجاء، وسناه البكاء. يا سابغ النعم، يا دافئ النقام، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يؤنم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا.
إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله.
My elders, brothers, sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Surah Fatiha is requested for all the names listed on the screen and Kul Marhamin Al-Fatiha. Ayat Ma Yujibun is requested for all the names listed on the screen and whoever is in need of it here and elsewhere. We will recite this together. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Amman yujibu al-mustarra idha da'a wa yakshifu as-su' 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 Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين المكرمين الخيرين الفاضلين السيدين الصادقين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Mu'mineen, mu'minat, brothers and sisters in Islam and Iman, Salamun alaykum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We've been going over the topic of adopting an Islamic lifestyle. This was the main heading for our discussion. Within that, there is our first subtopic, right? The first subtopic was about what is lifestyle. So we discussed that, we defined it. Then we wanted to try to apply that definition to Islam. Meaning, does Islam actually offer us a complete and total way of life? Or is Islam just a few things to do with our life, like praying and fasting and a few things about being a good person, and that's it? Or in other words, the second subtopic was, is Islam something full-time or is it part-time? Is Islam this minimal religion or is it a maximum religion? Does it dictate to us and advise us what to do in every single sphere of our life? Or is it just a few things here and there and we judge what to do in our lives based on other factors like logic, reasoning, science, what society dictates? This is what we've been trying to investigate. We've been going through some of the different historical periods talking about how did people deal with religion. So we talked about, at least as far as Europe is concerned, we talked about how before the Middle Ages and pretty much up to the Middle Ages, everybody looked towards whatever religion was the kind of popular religion there. Whatever religion said, whatever the tradition said, whatever orthodoxy said, this is what was true. This is what was real. And this is what people believed, and this was their understanding about religion. right? We saw what happened in the Middle Ages. People began to slowly move away from religion towards other fields and towards other focuses. So originally, religion or the religious teachings were used as a tool and a lens for understanding reality. Then we see first in the beginning that people start to move away and focus on their logic or their reasoning. Then slowly and slowly they started to go towards science and the empirical method, right? Basically, every time they were questioning, thinking, if religion can't answer our questions, then we need to find something else. So they went to math, they went to logic and reasoning, they went to science. They looked for other things to fill that gap of meaning, because everybody has these essential questions and they needed to get them solved. So we talked about the Middle Ages, we talked about the scientific revolution, which was a start to find something different, and how science began to take its footholding there. And then last time we talked about the Enlightenment, when people began to say that, okay, we don't need religion for a lot of questions, we can use logic and reasoning. They weren't atheists, but they didn't believe in some of the things that religion said, and instead they used logic, reason, and rationality to figure out what was right and wrong, and what was true in the Bible or in Scripture. That's where we left off. We had been going through various spiritual reminders as well. Firstly, we were talking about not to criticize others and rather focus on ourselves first. If we really want to improve society, improve a community, start with myself. Let me see what my issues are, because if I'm going to criticize somebody else, I probably have that issue first and foremost. The second spiritual reminder is that if we actually do want to teach others, we want to advise them, we want to improve our lives, then instead of doing it through fear, instead of doing it through harshness, through violence, through intimidation, we should teach and do ta'aleem, education and tarbiyah, parenting, upbringing and raising, community building through love, compassion, and mercy. So we say that we need to be lenient and not so strict when dealing with students or people that we're in charge. We left off with a discussion question, because we saw that in the Enlightenment, people started to say, well, religion says one thing, but my reason, my intellect, and logic says something else. So you started to see this clash of reason and religion. And we were framing this as a problem. So the question probably came in most of our minds that, isn't religion supposed to be something rational though? Especially us as followers of the Ahlul Bayt, alayhimus salam, aren't we supposed to be rational? Isn't our faith specifically more rational than every other faith that's there? So why is it that we're framing that something bad happened in the Enlightenment? So we want to talk a little bit about this tonight, inshallah, with the tawfiq that Allah provides, if we can recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So just to remind us, it's obvious that we've all heard how the intellect and reasoning and rationality, intelligence has importance in Islam, specifically in the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. But as a reminder, let's go through some verses and one narration. So let's look at Surah Al-Anfal, chapter 8, verse 22, where Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Inna sharra ad-dawwab 'inda Allah summul buk alladhina la ya'qilun. Definitely, the worst living thing in Allah's eyes are the deaf and the dumb, meaning what? Those who don't use their aql, those who don't use their reason. So this seems pretty obvious, right? No fancy tafsir necessary, right? Allah's considering the people who are deaf and dumb are who? The people who don't use their reasoning, who don't use their intellect. So it seems like we're supposed to be using our intellect in understanding religion. Okay. What about in chapter 10, Surah Yunus, verse 100? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَيَجْعَلُ الرِّجْسَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. This one's even more harsh. Allah puts filth, right? Rijs, both physical and spiritual filth and impurity on those who don't use their aql, who don't use their reason. So I think it's fairly clear from the Quran and many other verses where Allah says why don't you reflect? Why don't you use your reason? Why don't you think? Why don't you ponder? So isn't this evidence that we're supposed to be thinking and using our reason in religion? These are the kind of arguments we see for those who say, look, use your intellect, use your reasoning when you examine religion. If Islam says X, Y, and Z, then, don't just rely on what the scholars say. Don't just rely on what, the scholars who are overseas, what they are talking about. Even to understand the Quran and narrations, we have to use our intellects, right? This is a main talking point of those who profess this liberal, progressive, new age Islam, right? The minimal Islam. We can use our intellect to determine the spirit of Islam. What is the essence of Islam, right? There's a form and an essence. Islam takes many forms, but we need to find out what is the essential meaning of Islam. One thing was meant by the Prophet and Islam back, 1400 years ago, but we can use our intellects right now and say, well, now things have changed. So that ruling doesn't apply, and we don't use that ruling anymore in Islam. One famous example is about the hijab. There are some scholars, right, Shia scholars, who say the hijab was something for that time. We don't have that same problem that caused hijab to be necessary then. We don't have those issues today. So we can use our intellect, our reasoning, judging by how people think and how people think that it's irrational and illogical to put this covering over oneself. It's oppressive. So we don't use that anymore, and we shouldn't consider it a part of the faith. And this is the reasoning that they use. There's many different narrations as well, right? We talked about how the first book of Kitab al-Kafi of Shaykh al-Kulaini, rahmatullah alayh, is what? Kitab al-Aql wal-Jahl, right? The book of the intellect and ignorance, or the intellect and foolishness. There's one narration that I think is interesting, right? There's many different narrations about the importance of the intellect, but I think this one it pretty much summarizes what we want to talk about here, or the point that many believe right now about the relationship between the intellect and religion. And this one comes from the Holy Prophet, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So over here, the Prophet is saying what? He's saying, Qiwamul mar'i aqlu. The guardian, the manager of a person is their intellect. وَلَا دِينَ لِمَنْ لَا عَقْلَ لَهُ. And there's no religion for a person who doesn't have intellect. Right? Fairly clear, right? The way that we can maintain our religion is if we have the intellect. And the Prophet seems to be saying that if you don't use your intellect, if you don't have one, then you have no religion at all. Now, this seems fairly clear, right? Now, we're going to try and our best to answer the question. It's a big discussion, obviously. We can have a whole series about this. We want to go through a few points to try to answer this idea of what really is the relationship between rationality or thinking or being logical and the religion, right? When people think or say that they are thinking and using their intellect and logic and common sense about religion, is this correct or not? Now, there might be obviously some questions that many of you are thinking about, right? And maybe we get a chance to answer it tonight, maybe not. As always, we will try our best to answer those questions on Slido. So what we'll do tonight, if you have the questions, again, Slido is always there. You can put your questions up. And what we'll do is we'll start with the Slido questions, maybe answer one or two. And then we, of course, will move on to our quiz. So today we're going to flip it around and do the quiz at the end, Slido questions before that. And as always, as a reminder, the quiz is active right now. So please, if you plan on participating, log in now. And as soon as we're done with the discussion, then the questions will become active. We don't have to wait, very long. I'm glad to see that our possible prophet of God, according to some scholars, Aristotle's logged in. And, of course, the great 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nobody can forget them. But if you can, log in now, so that way we don't have to wait, 2-3 minutes and take up time for everybody to log in. So log in now, if you can, please. Thank you very much. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Also, if there are any questions from the discussion we had on Tuesday night for the Shahada of the sixth Imam, you can also ask them tonight, and we'll try to answer maybe one or two of those as well. Okay. So, thinking. Aren't we supposed to be thinking? Aren't we supposed to be using logic and reasoning and rationality when we're examining the religion? Well, the answer should be a resounding yes. It's very clear from the Quran, and it's very clear from the Hadith. All these narrations say yeah. But the problem is this: how do we know that we are actually using our logic and reasoning properly? What most of us end up doing is this: we think that we're being logical, we think we're being rational, we think that we are being reasonable, and we're using our brains or our minds, but in fact, it's not real. It's fake, and we're just fooling ourselves. Instead of being intellectual, we're actually being very, very foolish. We're being the most irrational and non-intellectual people possible. Shaykh Mutahari, rahmatullah alayh, may Allah bless his soul, has given us three sources or three different traits to show us that what are the things that we mistake for being rational, logical thinking. So that's what we want to go through tonight, inshallah. The first one is this. We might think we're being logical, we might think we're being rational, that we're using our minds and reasoning things. But Shaykh Mutahari says, you know what you're doing? And the Quran shows this. You're not actually using logical proofs. You're not reasoning fully. What you're doing is you're just mistaking that what you think is logical reasoning, you're mistaking it for conjecture. What is conjecture? Conjecture means you're just guessing. You're not actually achieving and obtaining and attaining rational certainty. You're not getting to philosophical certainty, what they call a burhan. You're not getting there. You're not being logical. You're actually just guessing. You think you're being foolproof. You think your arguments are strong, but they're actually very, very weak. You're guessing and conjecturing and just making assumptions about things. So the Quran indicates towards this. Look at chapter 6, verse 116, right? Surah An'am, where Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مِنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّوكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. If you obey most of the people on earth, they'll lead you away from the path of God. Right? إِن يَتَّبِعُونَ إِلَّا ظَنَّ. These people, most people in the world are what? They're only following their assumptions. And we get caught up in that too, and we follow their assumptions as well. Right? وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَخْرُصُونَ. The only thing they're actually doing in reality is what? They're just guessing. They're making stuff up as they go along. It's just wild guesses and conjectures and guesstimations and estimations. That's it. It's not fully logical. It's not real reasoning. Because real reasoning, real thinking takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of research, which it's very clear most of us don't really put in the time or the effort. We think for 5-10 seconds. We hear a comment or we think out loud during a baraza or a session, and we think we're being logical all of a sudden. Where if you were to take those comments, your rational opinion, your rational foolproof idea, if you were to put it in front of somebody who's fully educated and actually rational, they'd laugh in your face. Or if they had good akhlaq, they wouldn't laugh in your face, but they'd show you all the different places where you're making fallacies and your arguments are weak and deficient. So the first thing we have to be careful of and make sure we're not doing is that we are conjecturing and guessing about things rather than being fully rational and logical. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The second thing is what? We think we're being logical and rational, but instead, what are we doing? We're actually employing one of the worst things possible, which is blind faith. We're just following what other people say. We hear their arguments and we consider it that, it's logical and rational. We adopt that belief ourselves. And then you say, right, I'm being logical and rational. I'm using my common sense. And then we laugh at everybody else who's not listening to the scholars and the experts that we listen to. There was this interesting video that a Christian scholar had put out. And I believe you can find it on YouTube. I don't remember what it's called, but many of you probably have seen it. So this specific Christian scholar, he goes and doesn't believe in the idea of Darwinian evolution. And he wanted to show that when people believe in Darwinian evolution, they're actually getting caught up in a major fallacy. So what does he do? First, he goes and asks random people on the street, right? He interviews them, and he asks for their opinion regarding religion and believing in God. So he's interviewing people at universities mostly, and of course they give the typical answer that you'll find with people nowadays, right? They say, well, we don't follow a religion, we don't believe in religion anymore, we reject God. And he asks, well, why do you believe that? He said, because it's blind faith. There's no evidence for God, right? If there was evidence, we'd believe, but there's no evidence. So believing things on blind faith, that's not good. We shouldn't do that. We should be using our logic. We should be using reasoning, and we should be using strong evidence. That's what we do. He says, okay, fine. Then he says, what do you think about evolution, specifically Darwinian evolution? And they answer, well, we believe in it. It's, based on sound logic, reasoning, and evidence. He's like, okay, great. What is this sound logic, reasoning, and evidence? He said, oh, well, it's the fossil records, and all these biologists, they've written books about it, and Darwin wrote this and this, and they try to go through some of the ideas. And then he questions and says, have you actually read their works? Have you actually seen the evidence? Have you actually seen the fossils? And most of them are saying, no, actually we haven't. Or no, we haven't read the books. We haven't read the counter arguments as well. He said, so isn't this blind faith then? Aren't you just taking the biologists like Darwin and the rest, or those who have actually gone and seen the fossil records? Aren't you just taking them on blind faith? And then they end up realizing that they're being hypocrites. You see, many of us, we do that too. We grab the so-called arguments or evidence of a scholar or an expert in the field. We attach ourselves to what we think their arguments are, although we're doing it in a very superficial way. And then when we tell people that we believe in X, Y, Z idea, we say that, we're being logical, we're being reasonable, and we're being rational. When in fact, all we're doing is just regurgitating and appealing to authority. We're actually not being logical, reasonable, or rational about it. And this is not just for, let's say, atheists or people who reject religion. This, of course, happens to people within religion, within Islam, and specifically within Shia Islam. And it's not just people who are in this kind of logical, progressive trend that's happening right now, right? Because, of course, they do that. They find, a few scholars on YouTube, they listen to a lecture or two, and they say, look, what he's saying is so logical and rational. It makes so much sense. Everybody else now, they're stupid, they're dumb, they don't know what they're talking about. Come on, you're listening to, these one or two individuals. They mention a few points which you seem to agree with. Why? Well, we'll get to that, but you don't know what the counter arguments are because you haven't heard the other side. You haven't really done full research. You don't know the actual evidence. You don't really know what they're talking about, but because you like it or because you just follow them, all of a sudden it becomes rational, logical, and reasonable. And it's not just, again, these people with this progressive, rational, logical trend that's happening now, these new liberal scholars. It's even individuals who follow the conservative, mainstream, and orthodox trend. You ask them, why do you believe what the scholars or the Hausa have said? They said, well, it's because, they have logic and reason, right? This is why we follow them. It's because this has been what has been said for hundreds of years. Well, just because it's orthodox, just because it's mainstream, just because it's the traditional opinion, doesn't magically automatically make it logical and reasonable. I'm sure there must be some logic and reasoning behind it, but you don't get to make that claim, and you don't get to be insulting towards other individuals, right? That's not enough. If you cannot engage in a discussion, then maybe you shouldn't talk about it at all. It's okay for you to have the opinion. That's fine, right? We do taqleed for this reasoning, right? Taqleed is different. Taqleed and following a marja is that you've rationally understood that performing taqleed, it makes sense, right? It's a rational idea. And then you put, after doing research and who's the most knowledgeable, for example, you follow so-and-so marja, and then you let them make their decisions. You don't have to know the evidence at that point. But how many people actually put in the effort to do the initial research, right? You have to believe that taqleed is rational in the first place, right? Many people probably haven't even done the research in finding out that their specific marja is the most knowledgeable, right? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Or on the other side, those who are following so-and-so, celebrity scholar. Have you done the research to see that they are actually qualified in what they're saying? What does Allah say here in chapter 17, verse 36? He says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. Don't follow or don't stop, don't pursue and don't go after what you have no knowledge of. If you don't know what you're talking about, if you're not ready to put in the effort of research, of time, of being dedicated to knowledge, then don't just stop. Don't follow blindly. You have to put in the effort there, right? Seek knowledge. Go to the scholars. Sit down. Go educated. Become educated. Attend classes. Read books. This is the only way to do it. We can't just rely on the minbar or a 10-day majalis to solve all of our problems. It's not going to work like that. We can't think that madrasa one day out of the week is going to make our kids magically intellectual individuals overnight. It's not going to happen. Parents, we have to become more intellectual and rational and educated so that we can make our children do the same thing as well. That's going to take time. It's going to take effort. But if that's what we want for our kids, if we want them to truly be rational, logical, and reasonable, then we need to put in much, much, much more effort than we have before. So let's ask Allah to give us the ability to put in more of that effort so we can start, if we want to engage in discussions, which right off the bat, I'd say don't do it because most of us aren't going to be educated enough. But if you get caught up in some sort of baraza argument, some social media back and forth, some WhatsApp group, at least make sure you're trying to quote some scholars, right? And say, it's not my own opinion. Don't say that you're being logical or rational, right? Just at least understand that there are different opinions out there and be careful of what you say. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So this was the second thing that we mistake as being rational and logical. And the third and most dangerous, possibly, the most dangerous of all is what? Is where Allah says in Surah An-Najm, chapter 53, verse 23, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, إِن يَتَّبِعُونَ إِلَّا ظَنَّ. Right? So again, he's talking about people follow nothing except, right, guesses, conjecture, their assumptions. What they think is real, but it's not. What they think is knowledge and certainty, but it's not. But then he adds something. وَمَا تَهْوَى الْأَنفُسِ. Do so. He's saying don't follow your conjecture, or people are not following anything except their conjecture. And what else? And their shahwa, their hawaya nafs, their carnal, selfish, egotistical desires. So the third trait that Shaykh Mutahari mentions is instead of rationally thinking, we are actually fooling ourselves and we are actually using and following our selfish motives. That's what we're doing. Most of us, when we're trying to think about a problem and we're trying to reason through it, we have our own selfish bias. We have our own self-motivating, factors. And we end up following that instead of what's actually logical and rational. And a real scholar, they know the difference between what they feel in their hearts, meaning what their nafs wants, and what logic, reason, evidence dictates. Let's give an example through a story of Allama Hilli, rahmatullah alayh, one of our greatest scholars. They say that Allama was dealing with one of the past classical fiqh issues, which really doesn't apply to us in the modern world, right? Basically, the way that they would get their water would be from a well, right? Well water. So people, of course, either they would go to a main well within their area, or sometimes they'd have a well right outside their house or within their courtyard. So they would use that, right? They would take that water for, washing their dishes, of course, for drinking, for performing ghusl, for everything, right? That was their source of water. So this fiqh issue came out and the discussion was this: what happens if something like a dead body, like a dead animal, falls into the well, or an animal dies in the well water? What happens there? Does the whole thing become najis and unusable? Or can you just take out the dead body, do a few different things, and then the water will become tahir, pak, and okay to use? So this was a fiqh issue, a legal issue that Allama Hilli was dealing with. Now here's the problem. Allama Hilli, he had a well inside his house, and the next well was really, really far away. So immediately he understood that he had a bias. He had a self-interest, which was what? That if he realized that, look, there's two possibilities. Either the whole well becomes najis and unusable, or that, no, he can do a few different things, and he'd be able to make that well tahir. And he saw that the evidence within the hadith pointed in both directions. So either of those opinions could have been true. Now he knew that his nafs, his ego, his carnal desires obviously was going towards what was easier in life, which was that I wish it would be really great if I could make this well that's right outside my house, within my house. It would be awesome if I could make it tahir, right? And then it would be okay. Because, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think a dead animal like a rat or something fell in there. So this issue was an issue for him. He had to deal with it. If he came to the conclusion that this whole thing becomes najis because of the animal that fell in, the dead animal, then he would have to go now, and it would be tough for him to go to the other well. Or if he found out, or he proved that, no, he can take out a few buckets of water, or he could clean it somehow, then it would make his life easier. Because he saw that there was a potential self-supporting bias, he said, you know what I have to do? Before I decide what the evidence points towards, I have to remove my ego from the equation. I have to remove my bias, my motivation, my self-motivation from the equation. So what did he do? He told his workers in the house, he said, close up the well, we're never going to use it again, regardless of what the fatwa I pass. See, this is what a true scholar does. He removes his own self-motivational bias. So they shut his well. Then after that is when he went towards the evidence and decided what actually seemed to be the more useful and more correct opinion. And we have this beautiful narration which highlights this point, which comes from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. We'll end with this narration, and then we'll move on to see if there's any Slido questions, and then we'll move on to the quiz. So what does Mawla Ali say? He says, La aqla ma'a shahwa. There is no intellect. There's no rationalization. There's no reasoning. There's no logic whenever there's shahwa, whenever there's desire, whenever there's a bias alongside it. So what are the three things now we said? We said that a person perhaps might be thinking they're being logical, but in fact, they're just guessing. It's not actually logical. It's just assumptions and guesswork. It's weak thinking. Or it could be blind faith, that they're just blindly appealing to authorities that they've listened to. Or they're actually not being logical, they're just being selfish. It's their own desires, and they're saying that it's rational or logical. If we want to really be rational and logical, we need to do a lot more research, a lot more evidence-based thinking, and understand what does it mean to be logical. There's a whole science dedicated to this, right? Ilm al-mantiq, the science of logic. How many of us have actually studied that? How many of us are willing to sit down and study these things? We see that when this false logic comes into play, then true knowledge becomes impossible. And we will start to see this trend when we talk next week about the period known as the Industrial Revolution. We'll see what happens when people's false logic and false evidence substituted the idea of religious tradition. And then we will give a spiritual reminder about what is an actual obstacle to true thinking and true learning. So from here now, we will open up to see if there's any Slido questions, and then to the quiz, if you can send a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, so Anonymous says, Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. One of your recommendations is to properly research on a subject before engaging the discussion about it. However, youths in this generation and society are about instant gratification, and the youth want results quick. How do you suggest helping them promote the idea of research? Well, I would say, do you see the irony in asking the question on Slido, right? I'm supposed to now give you a 2-second answer, right? Now, again, we know that this is pretty much as far as Slido allows, right? But I don't think it's just the youth. I've dealt with both youth who are like this, but I've dealt with many, many elders who in a Q&A or in the middle of a lecture, in the middle of a majlis, they say, answer my question right now, right? They want a 5-second answer. And almost every single issue that we have in Islam, or not just Islam, if you look at any field of study, there's countless and countless PhD level articles written on the topic, right? There's books and books and books. Now, Obviously, a skill of a proper teacher is that they can try their best to summarize the discussions so that at least people have some idea. Now, for both the adults and youth, again, I'm not just limiting it to the youth here, because I say that adults, a lot of them are many of them about this instant gratification, dollar menu, drive-through, Islam now. So if you truly want to know the deeper answer, then you'll have to understand that you have to research. One of the ways that sometimes it can help is if they're in the room with somebody who actually is educated on the subject and they share their kind of arrogant or egotistical or naive opinion, then that person should be able to show them how ignorant, arrogant, and closed-minded they're actually being. Now, it really depends on that specific person. Some people are open-minded, some are not. So it's tough to say. You have to kind of figure out how the individual is interacting. For those who are interested in doing more research, you can research the psychological problem called the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? When a person thinks they know more than they actually know. And you can see what some psychologists have said to try to rectify and remedy that psychological bias, right? Again, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. And of course, our ulama of akhlaq and irfan have also offered, in terms of spiritual psychology, their advices. But again, I don't have too much time, so maybe in another session we can try to address that, whether a private session or a public session, because obviously we can't really cover everything in this limited time we have. But again, it's obviously a great question. Okay. So if there's no other questions, then we'll move to the quiz, inshallah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Okay, so thank you very much for everybody who's joined in, and not waited to the last second. So salam alaikum to Anonymous, Mujahid Jan Muhammad, Muzammil Jan Muhammad, the Dojis, Sakina, Masuma, the Jessas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Bande Khuda, who's always here, or he or she is always here. H, Aristotle, may God bless you. Thank you so much for formalizing the science of logic for us. For many of you who remember, we talked about this once in a lecture, right? The logic where we talk about, if A is B and B is C, therefore A equals C. This whole formal logic is known as Aristotelian logic, right? Because they say Aristotle is the one who kind of formalized things for us. So when you study logic in university, or when you study in the Hawza, Ilm al-Mantiq, this is coming from Aristotle, right? But of course, you and I know it to some degree, but maybe not all the way. Okay, so we've got a minute. That's too much time. We don't have to give them a minute to join in. Come on, they can do it faster. Okay, Qambar, salam alaikum. The media team is being too kind. Harry Potter. There you go. Hasan. I know, yeah, okay. Let's get started then. Okay, first question. What was one of the main, I always put these typos in, sorry. What was one of the main features of the Enlightenment? Was it a shift from religious teachings to science and the empirical method? Was it a shift from religious teachings to logic, reasoning, and rationality? Was it the discovery of the nature of light and light particles? Or was it a focus on spiritual enlightenment and progress through science and the intellect? All right. We've talked about most of these things in our series so far. I believe so. I think we talked about most of them. All right, we talked about how many people were shifting over to science and the empirical method, and they were getting stuck thinking only in scientific terms. But we also said some people were thinking about logic, reasoning, and rationality only, and that they were fighting between reasoning and religion. At the same time, we know that there is discovering so many different things, like what the true nature of light is. Maybe that's why it was called the Enlightenment. Or we talked about how, look, there weren't that many atheists. They were still religious. So maybe in the Enlightenment, they were spiritually enlightening themselves through this newfound process of science and reasoning. So which one was it? I tricked you. I tricked most of you again, Hasan, right? But 60% of you got it right. It was a shift from religious teachings to logic, reasoning, and rationality. Thinking that human beings can figure stuff out without religion. Though they weren't becoming irreligious, but they were trying to replace God and the church and religious teachings in many different places. And this caused them some problems. Okay, let's go to the second question. What are some of the ideas behind the philosophical theory of rationalism? Was it that following religion is the most rational belief? Was it that what follow things which are common sense? Was it the only way to know what is real and true is through human logic and reasoning? Or all of the above? Now, obviously, when all of the above is there, it's pretty much the right answer, isn't it? Or is it me tricking you, as again, which I've done multiple times? Let's go back then, all right? Following religion is the most rational belief. Well, that's true. And we were saying that many of these people who believed in rationalism, they were Christians or Jews. Right? They believed in God. So that's probably what they were talking about, right? As let's use rationalism to believe in God. Or was it that, no, let's talk about what is common sense, right? What you and I sometimes mention. Let's talk about what common people believe together. Let's use that logic and reasoning. Or was it maybe that the only way to know what is real and true is through human logic and reasoning, right? So which one of these was it? Or, of course, all of the above. Oh, I kind of tricked you again. Sorry, it wasn't all of the above. So 54% of you got it right. Rationalism, especially during the Enlightenment, was that the only way to know what is real and true is through human logic and reasoning. So they tossed away the idea of revelation and of metaphysics and philosophy, which what they were talking about previously, right? Kind of pre-Enlightenment and pre-scientific revolution. Hasan, very good. Okay, number 3. So we mentioned this narration. Fill in the blanks, right? So the Prophet said, according to this narration, use blank and blank in education and upbringing, and don't even consider blank as an option. So what was it? Did he say use the Quran and Sunnah in education and upbringing, and don't even consider your own opinion as an option? Did he say use the Quran and reasoning in education and upbringing, and don't even consider ignorance as an option? Did he say use love and affection in education and upbringing, and don't even consider cruelty an option? Or use toys and money in education and upbringing, and don't even consider spending time with them an option? So obviously you can see that 3 of these are probably most likely the answer. And the 4th one was more of me attempting to be ironic and funny here. But it should be a point for us to reflect on, that many of us as parents think we can substitute proper parenting, by just buying a bunch of toys and spending money and taking our kids out. And that's not going to work. Spending time, there's nothing more valuable than spending time with our children. Let's make sure we make that a priority for our children, inshallah. So which of these could it be? Right? All of these are important. I got most of you here, huh? So it was love and affection. The Prophet said use love and affection, right? Because we were talking about in tarbiyah, we shouldn't be strict, we shouldn't be harsh. Of course, the Quran and Sunnah are there, but what the Prophet wanted to emphasize here, possibly, was the idea of not being fear. Don't use fear and torment and all that stuff that maybe you and I got in madrasa, or you and I got from our parents or our grandparents. So love, affection, don't use cruelty, not even as an option. Okay, last one, and then we'll be done for tonight. According to Sayyid Mutahari, Qaddasallahu sirru, when we think we're being logical and rational, we might actually be what? Following weak guesses, right? Assumptions, blindly following others, right? This fake idea of imitation, of appeal to authority. Or are we following our own desires, our shahwa? Or is it all of the above? Am I tricking you again with the all of the above? Or no, this time maybe it is all of the above. Does following weak guesses even make sense? What does that mean, weak guesses, right? That wouldn't be logical and rational. Well, maybe that's not an option. No, it's following others, right? When we blindly follow other people, we think we're being logical, but we're actually not. But the other option makes sense too, right? Following our own desires. We think we're following logic and rational beliefs, but it's actually our own desires. Now, which of these is it? This should be obvious. Come on. We ended up with this. If you get this wrong, that means you really weren't paying attention tonight. Sorry. Oh, no. Come on. Only 67% of you? It's all of the above. Ahsan. That means a bunch of you weren't paying attention. That's not good. You see, this is what happens when we do stuff virtually. All right? Inshallah, when we come back in person and have our programs, inshallah, in person, then hopefully we'll be able to pay attention more. Congratulations to Aristotle. Of course, you're the logical one. Of course, you'll be able to get this stuff, right? And of course, the dojis, always at the top as well. Ahsan. But also, great job to Qambar, Ma'suma, and Bandi Khuda. Very good. We'll see all of you next week, inshallah. We'll continue our discussion. والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله. السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله. السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين ولي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرزيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة. لم تنجسك جاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرزي الزكي الحادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولديك كلمة التقوى وعلام الهدى والأروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياؤه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم مؤكن بشراء الدين وخواتيم عملي وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرزيت به. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأوداءه. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الزكي الناس. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم وتابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما. فيا ليتني كنتم معكم فأفوز معكم. السلام عليك يا أبا فضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن سيد الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن أول القوم إسلاما وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوتهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك فنعم الأخ المواسي. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام. فنعم الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر. ولقد نافع عن أخي المجيب إلى طاعة ربه الراغب فيما زهد فيه غيره من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل. والحقق الله بدرجة آبائكم في جنات النعيم. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان، الأمان الأمان الأمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طمعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا.